Allison Kilkenny. She's the co-host of Citizen Radio and a contributing reporting for In These Times and The Nation. We're going to talk about the Occupy movement and assault on unions as well. Allison, welcome back to the Young Turks.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. First, tell me the latest with the Occupy movements. We had the Parks Police in D.C. break up McPherson Square. What's the latest?
Well, that was probably the last major Occupy camp, and it's been dismantled. It was raided, as you just mentioned. But the media is sort of erroneously reporting this as the last Occupy camp, that's just not true. There's smaller Occupy camps in smaller towns that are still very much up and running right now. But, you know, the state of the occupation right now is that Occupy is still with us. They're just sort of operating in these smaller cells. So there's a student debt movement. There's an Occupy Homes movement. There are still very active cells going on. There's just not a centralized physical major camp anymore within the United States.
You know, I'm thinking of taking over the Occupy movement. I'm tired of the little cells. They're never going to get anywhere. And this whole thing of like, oh, participatory democracy, isn't it lovely? Let's play patty cakes. And what does Bob think and what does Susan think? No. We need to have one defining issue. That defining issue is getting money out of politics. Otherwise, we get pulverized and steamrolled on every other issue. Do we have any hope, Allison, that somebody's going to stand up and say, this is what Occupy is for? Or is it going to peter out with all these little issues going nowhere?
Well, I try not to put myself in a position where I'm giving strategic advice to Occupy because just personally, I'm so sick of reading these op-eds that are, you know, heralding the end of Occupy and spouting endless words of advice. I mean, especially from pundits who have absolutely no experience in the activism world, actually on the streets trying to organize this kind of thing. Personally, I'm in awe a lot of the facilitators of Occupy when they try to build these consensuses among enormous amounts of people. It's a really hard task. So far be it for me to criticize what they're doing, but if we look at what they've accomplished so far, I mean, it is remarkable what Occupy Wall Street has been able to do so far, just in terms of shaping the dialogue in this country. I mean, here we have the President of the United States giving a State of the Union address in which he calls wealth disparity, economic disparity, the defining issue of our time. I mean, that would have been unheard of a few years ago, especially in the United States where presidents are almost like absurdly proud of the fact that we never talk about class in this country. The reason that President Obama was able to get up there and start talking about wealth disparity was because Occupy Wall Street has pushed the dialogue so far to the left in this country that now a moderate like President Obama, and you were just, you know, very articulately going on about what a hapless leader he is sometimes, even President Obama felt confident enough to get up there and say, hey, we really have to start talking about class. And that was because of Occupy Wall Street.
Right. Now, he didn't feel confident enough to do anything about it. Don't get him wrong. Okay, but at least
this is right, that's phase two, right? First we have to talk about it, and then phase two is, well, all right, we're done talking. Let's actually do something about this.
Right, and I don't want anybody to misunderstand me. I think Occupy movement has done a brilliant job of getting that acknowledgement in the press, in our politicians, etc. And I think they did a terrific job in stage one. It's time for stage two. Let's go. Let's get to work, and let's actually change the laws in this country. All right. Now, unfortunately, as we are thinking and planning about that, the right wing every day goes about, unfortunately, changing the laws in their favor. Tell me about what happened in Indiana, Allison.
Well, Governor Mitch Daniels signed the Right to Work bill, and it's a really Orwellian name, Right to Work. It's a union-busting bill. It's an anti-worker bill. It makes it hard for workers to unionize. And he did this, he signed the bill in private, right, because it was so popular, this bill. He had to do it behind closed doors. And Governor Daniels isn't up for re-election. He's reached his term limit, so he cannot be re-elected again. So this was sort of a very cowardly move on his way out behind closed doors. And, you know, Occupy responded immediately to it. They launched Occupy the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl was in Indiana this year. And they wanted to use that sort of, you know, huge national media magnet to sort of voice their discontent, not only with Governor Daniels, but all of the right to work legislation that we're seeing in so many states around the country.
So you wrote about this for In These Times. You had some stats in there that I find stunning. you say average pay in right-to-work states, you know, and I hate that word, but it's what the Republicans call right-to-work states, is actually $5,333 less per year. Where did you get that number from? That is such a stunning number. You would think that if we had anybody on our side who knew how to do politics at all, that on that number alone we would crush them.
Yeah, and I mean, to their credit, well, those groups are from National Labor Board numbers. I mean, those are just dry statistic numbers that anybody can get if they just look at the actual statistics. But labor groups, the AFL-CIO, they have been peddling those numbers. They've been saying that for years, before the right-to-work legislation started to come down in, 20 some odd states being peddled by ALEC. The American Legislative Exchange Council. So they have really been at the forefront of this, saying for a very long time that it's not just lower pay, but it's worse working conditions too. Many more workers are hurt in right-to-work states because obviously the labor standards aren't as high. But they really have been, giving those numbers out for a very long time. But for whatever reason, the media doesn't really frame the narrative the right way, because if you see those numbers that you just read, it's so crystal clear that right-to-work states are just bad for workers.
Now, and I want the audience to understand, right-to-work is a term that they use saying that, hey, if the union has gotten you all these extra wages, et cetera, you don't have to pay them anyway. You don't have to join the union, right, even though the union is the one getting you your wages and your benefits, et cetera. Right? Now,
right.
And so when you live in one of these so-called right-to-work states, as we just told you, on average, the workers make less than $5,000 less, more than $5,000 less. It's unbelievable. But the numbers Allison's talking about, and this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 21% more people lack health insurance in those so-called right-to-work states. And then this stunning number. In right-to-work states, where you basically weaken the unions, there are 51% more workplace deaths. That's gigantic. And
yeah, we're not even talking about injuries. We're talking about actual deaths. And yeah, I mean the fact that, especially the media that loves like the sort of blood and guts story, you would think that 50% death increase in states would sort of be a glaring indication that the so-called right-to-work states, the anti-worker states, are, tremendously detrimental.
Yet, shockingly enough, the corporate media does not report it that way. That's really weird. I'm sure it's a wild coincidence. But I'll tell you who's not part of the corporate media, and it's In These Times, it's The Nation. And by the way, the media consortium, which In These Times and Nation are also belong to, and certainly they also featured your article as well, Allison, there. And I wanted everybody to know that they're actually doing a fundraiser for independent media. And hey, listen, we all got to help each other out. And I wanted to give them a plug here so that people know, at least if you want to support independent media that brings you these amazing facts, gives you the perspective that you don't get in the corporate media, you can actually do that by going to supportyourmedia.razoo.com. supportyourmedia.razoo.com. And they are doing fundraisers for all this independent media. And so it's great to see people taking part in that and participating. And Allison, it was great to read your report. Honestly, I didn't know the numbers in there until I read your article. So I want to thank you for putting that out there and for joining us on the Young Turks.
Thanks for having me.